guys, welcome back to my channel, Butterfly Spirit 314. So guys, recently I've been talking about what happens if your partner goes into the hospital because they have PTSD symptoms. And I did a couple of videos about that if you guys want to check it out. This video today is going to be specifically about what it means to be a next to kin if you're in a U.S. hospital, USA hospital. And this was told to me by some hospital staff, and I think it's kind of complicated, but I'm glad I got like some type of simplistic term for it. So, what a next to kin is that means that a next to kin to somebody would be their immediate blood relative. So this would be like their mom, their dad, sister, brother, and it would kind of just go from there. I'm not really sure what happens when it gets to somebody's like aunts and uncles and things like that. Usually for the next to kin, as far as a hospital is concerned in the U.S., is basically going to be somebody who is a blood relative to you. I've seen some information about the blood relative could be, it could, if somebody lists their boyfriend or girlfriend, they could be skipped over to the person's parent or something like that. I'm not like totally sure or anything like that. If you guys want to make sure that the next of kin is like what I'm saying, you can like check with any local hospitals in your area, or you can check with like an attorney or whatever, what have you. So, what I want to tell you guys about the next to kin is, if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend and they go into the hospital, and you know how you guys go into the hospital and you fill out forms and they ask like who your next of kin would be and stuff like that. The people you write down on that paperwork are people who the hospital can talk to. Uh, and I know for a fact that, when me and my boyfriend go and we fill out paperwork, like if I went to the hospital, he did, um, more likely than not, what happens is that what happens is that, you know, I know I've written down family members of my own to be contacted as a, you know, people to contact that it's okay to contact my boyfriend. I think he's written down like his family members or whatever. It can be really frustrating if your boyfriend or girlfriend goes into the hospital involuntarily, or if they voluntarily go but they're kept involuntarily, meaning they can't leave. Um, what I would like to say about that is that I'm on that end right now where my boyfriend went into the hospital voluntarily, but he was being kept, I believe, involuntarily for like, I believe it's for the 72-hour hold, because that makes the most sense. Because when I call and I ask them like what's going on, they don't want to give me any information and things, and I'm not his next to kin, like his blood relative or anything like that. So naturally they're talking to somebody in his family. Um, my concern about my boyfriend going into the hospital and things like that, and me not being contacted, is that it's very tough. It's not easy because, me and him live together. So, if there is any question about, things from like his jobs or something, they're going to call me. They're not going to call like, his family or whatever, what have you, because he didn't give his employers his family's information. You know what I mean? I think it's important to, be able to give information out to specific, to like with my boyfriend's case, I think he should have given his family's information out so that they can be contacted, you know. But as far as I can tell, right now, his jobs haven't been contacted or anything. So I'm the person who's like doing all the work and trying to make sure that, his jobs know that he's not going to be back for a while. And I think it's a pretty tough thing. You know, I feel like I'm making headway on things and getting somewhere, but it's kind of overwhelming. And it just seems like it is. I'm just tired. I didn't get much sleep last night, but um, it's tough when you are not, um, when you're not somebody in the position, as next to kin. Like if it was a situation where like I was married to my boyfriend, like if I was married to him, it'd be a hell of a lot easier because I will be able to say, oh, well, we're married. I'm his spouse. I can make the decisions or whatever, what have you. And I believe I talked to my boyfriend about this a while ago, but he wasn't sure about when there would be a circumstance when that would need to happen, even though I'm engaged to him. So I will tell you guys, if you are a significant other to somebody who goes into the hospital and they're held for the 72-hour hold in the hospital, it can be really tough on you because you're not going to get any information and you may be calling and calling and calling to try to, make sure your boyfriend or girlfriend's okay. You may be doing everything. You may be calling 911. You may be calling an ambulance. You might be making sure they're checking your significant other over. You may be, contacting other people to tell them, hey, your loved one's in the hospital, that type of thing, telling their family what's going on, you know. I think one of the best things you can do as a significant other to your boyfriend or girlfriend is definitely try to get a plan in place before they find themselves going into the hospital or anything. Try to make sure you guys have a plan in place, okay? So have a plan in place where at least they put you down as somebody who can be talked to, okay? You never know if you're going to be that person on the list. You never really know, okay? You don't know. I'd say talk to your significant other before they find themselves having, some type of episode or anything. An episode is in like a experience where they're not reachable to you and they're not like uh as coherent as they normally are, and it can come out of nowhere where they, kind of they're not aware, you know what I mean? And it is tough, like I said before. It's tough, trying to care for your boyfriend or girlfriend if they're in a hospital and you weren't able to go with them, or your significant other confuses you for being somebody that harmed them when you were just trying to help them. You know what I mean? So that's really tough. It's really hectic. Um, you can't be considered a next to kin if you're a boyfriend or girlfriend, as far as I've looked at. You can contact local hospitals in your area or anything to see what they have to say. Uh, I think that the next to kin makes a lot of sense. It makes tons of sense you know, if if it makes sense to me that my boyfriend's, family are consulted, as next to kin for him. I think that makes sense. I think it's a bummer in a way that, even though I've been in relationships with my boyfriend for a long time, that, I'm not considered somebody to talk to because, me and him still live together. You know what I mean? Just because he's in the hospital doesn't mean that when he comes out, it's not going to be, he's not going to have pressure. You know what I mean? Because he's still going to have pressure. And I'm trying to do what I can to lessen the pressure for him, right? Um, but it's tough. And I think for you guys out there who are going through what I'm going through, where you're sniffing others in the hospital and you're worried sick about them and you're not getting any sleep and you're eating very little and you're trying to stay on top of things, it is tough. But what I would say is this: I would say, uh, please talk to counseling, like a counselor, about what you're going through. Um, if you're depressed, tell them. If you need to talk to somebody who won't judge you, then, talk to them just to get the words out. If you have to write a letter to your boyfriend or girlfriend in the hospital, you don't have to mail it because they may not be able to get it. But if you, write a letter and then, you know, if they live with you, put it on their desk or something like that, and every day you write a letter, you know what I mean? Then that can help you get some of that tension out. You know what I'm saying? And it can kind of keep you present. Usually people will write like a letter to somebody if they're angry with them, you know, and you were hurt by them. That's usually when you write a letter. But I think if you're in a state of worry, I think you should, write a letter. If the reason that you're going to be, writing these letters to your significant others because when they get out of the hospital, when they get better, you can give them those letters and say, hey, these are the letters I wrote to you. These were my thoughts when you were going through what you were going through. You know, um, can you read the letters? When you get time. You know what I'm saying? If you don't think they, if you think they might try to harm themselves with the letters, give it some more time. You can always email them the letters or just send it to their email and just say, hey, I sent you a letter every day. If you email them a letter, it still gets to them. You know what I mean? You can be as vulnerable as you want to be in the letter. You can be that. Um, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to not get overwhelmed. You're trying not to get stressed out. And it's hard. It's really hard not to just uh not to give into the situation. One of the things you want to be doing is you want to be strong for your significant other because when they get out of the hospital, if they're on like a 72-hour hold because of their mental state or whatever, if they are on that hold, you know, eventually they're going to get out, and it can be in. You guys may not like this, but it could be in a month. It could be in some weeks. You know what I mean? Um, but what you can do, is just try not to get depressed. If you have to cry, cry. If you're frustrated, it's okay to shout in the house where you are. Your apartment, people might think you're kind of weird. It's okay to express your feelings and, tell people your feelings and try to get advice, from your counselor. Hey, what should you do? What should your priorities be? Because it can be hard to set your priorities. Okay, it can be really hard. And so, what you want to do is you want to try to do the best you can do. My philosophy is that uh, in case of emergency, what I think it's important to I think it's important to try, if you can't get a plan in place or something, at least have something that you're in control of for your significant other, like not control of, but a part of, like if you have bank accounts or bills or whatever. Like if for some reason you go in the hospital, you being on the bill is really good because it allows you to still be able to conduct business on their behalf. Because when they get out, they're going to be thinking about every single solitary thing. You know what I mean? And at least what you can do is you can show them, hey, I took care of this for you. I did this for you. You know what I mean? So, you can make decisions for them. Okay. And at least that would help. Okay. So, I know it's tough. I'm going through it right now, and it's scary not knowing. And my mind goes from like trying to be positive to going off in the deep end. And that's why I'm going to be talking to a counselor and things like that to try to sort through things. I might even call, a mental health line just to kind of let them know what's going on. Like if I could talk to a counselor or something, I think that would be really awesome to just talk to somebody and just tell them, hey, this is everything that's happened and this is what I feel stressed about and stuff. And I think getting that out is important. I think telling people who need to know what's going on, like your significant other's job, you can tell them that their job that, hey, they're in the hospital. I don't know why they're in the hospital, but they didn't give you much information. You don't want to get in too deep into stuff because you don't want their employer to think they're crazy. You know what I mean? So it's really important to wait and see. Um, it's okay. It's okay to wait it out and stuff and stay strong for your significant other, like writing the letters I was talking about, right? Write letters to them. So when they, get out of hospital, they can read them, physical letters, or you can email them a letter and they can read the letters and they can read your thoughts and your questions and they can write a letter back to you to answer all your questions for you. And, you know, um, I think they will be a lot more, um, I think they would be a lot more, if you guys had an argument before they went to the hospital, I think they would be a lot more receptive and they say, wow, you were really thinking about me. I didn't know you were thinking about me. I didn't know that you felt this way. I didn't know that this really, that really meant a lot to you, you know. And, if they don't want to communicate verbally to you about it, like I said, they can write a letter. I know this isn't the most heartfelt, this is the most happiest video possible, but these are just some things that I'm learning as my boyfriend is in the hospital and things, and I don't really know too much or anything like that. Sometimes you can ask the sometimes you can ask the hospital staff how the person is doing. Sometimes you can ask them and say, "Hey, are they doing okay?" I just wanted to know. It'll really help me sleep at night if you can, tell me if they're doing okay. You know what I mean? And they might be like, "Oh, this person's doing fine," and it calms you down a bit more. Sure, you don't know the future, but one thing you can do is try to stay calm. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. I planned for this to be like 5 or 10 minutes, but it went a bit over than that. But anyway, stay strong if you're in my sort of situation, and be strong for your significant other because when they come out of the hospital, they may be completely out of it and they may be needing kind words and they may not be getting it from their family or friends, you know what I'm saying? But they can get it from you, you know what I mean? And so I think that's one of the good things. And your letter to them, I know people are going to say we don't write letters anymore, but in your letter to them, you can talk about the good things that you remember about them. Like you could say, "Hey, I had a thought about you, and when we were laughing and eating pizza, or going for a walk or whatever, what have you." You know what I mean? So think about the good things. There's good and bad things, but I think one thing you can do is at least try to make it easier on yourself. Okay. And, that means you have to have self care for yourself, and you have to make sure that you're still mentally strong and that you're in control of things, that you can do. Just know that there's things you can do. You don't have to solve the situation for your significant other, but what you can do is try to be comforting towards them. And, if they have any type of counseling, you can be a part of it and just let the counselor know what happened, if you're comfortable doing that. Okay? Because they need somebody to be strong. They don't need anybody who's going to be crying and this and that other. I mean, you can cry if you feel like you have to, but just, it's good for you to be strong. But, if you have to cry and then you say, "Hey, I'm crying because I really love and care about you, and I realized that when you left that this or that happened, and, I just wish that I was able to know these things so we never got to this point." And your significant other is probably going to have to work on themselves, and you may have to work on yourself individually, but you guys can come back and have couples counseling eventually, okay? So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I was going to end it earlier, but I didn't. But thanks for watching. Bye-bye.